Hello everyone and welcome to the NinjaTrader webinar room. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to test audio and video. So if you can hear my voice and you can also see the picture I'm displaying in the room, go ahead and enter a Y into the chat room now. All right, thank you very much for confirming that for me. My name is Patrick and I work as a NinjaTrader customer support representative here at our Denver, Colorado offices, and I'll be leading today's session. I want to thank you all for joining today's SuperDOM Basics event. NinjaTrader has a vast ecosystem of add-on partners and trading educators. Today's event was sponsored by Easy Color Trading. We'll be presenting a free webinar in this room Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and they'll be covering your answer to trading success. If you're interested in learning more about this event, as well as Easy Color Trading, you can do so at the following link. That's our Learn More link in the room. You can also register for the event there as well. All of our partner introduction events are free. You can find our educators on our partners page at the following link, as well as our third-party and add-on providers at the following link as well. We also provide free weekly partner introduction events so you can learn more about our partners. Easy Color Trading, of course, you can find that at the Learn More link. I've entered in the room there. I would like to begin by giving a brief history of NinjaTrader, which was founded in July of 2003 and raised the bar for real-time trading applications when it pioneered the introduction of advanced trade management. Since then, each release has introduced powerful customer-driven enhancements. With the release of the current version, which is NinjaTrader version 7, this gives traders of stocks, futures, and Forex around the world the most innovative trading features in the industry. Multi-series charting, advanced system development, and backtesting, as well as our industry-leading order entry features, makes NinjaTrader a true end-to-end trading platform for traders of all levels. If you aren't aware, NinjaTrader is a free application for advanced charting, market analytics, automated strategy development, and trade simulation. We only charge for our product if and when you decide to trade live through any of our over 100 supported brokers worldwide. You can download NinjaTrader from the link I've entered in the room, and if you're interested in purchasing or leasing NinjaTrader, you can view these options at our subscriptions page. If you have any questions on purchasing or leasing NinjaTrader, you can send a note to sales@ninjatrader.com. We have a great staff there willing to answer any questions you may have. Now, today's training event should last approximately 45 to 60 minutes, and during this time, we'll be covering the following topics. We're going to go through the price ladder display features of the NinjaTrader SuperDOM, both the dynamic and the static SuperDOM. We're going to go through the SuperDOM properties, take a look at the quick buttons, advanced options, order submission, order modification, and order cancellation, and a preliminary overview of the advanced trade management material. For more information on ATM or Advanced Trade Management Strategies, please feel free to join us later this week for our ATM Level 1 and Level 2 webinars or any of our other free online events available at the following link. I'd also like to note that the ATM Strategy Level 1 material will be covered after this webinar here in the room at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I would like to note that NinjaTrader is not a data provider or a broker, therefore you will need to connect to one of our supported data feed providers. NinjaTrader supports equities, futures, and Forex markets. Additionally, I'd like to provide you with a link covering the type of data these individual providers offer, and this is our historical data link. I'd also like to note that Kinetic has been designed to be the optimal market data feed for the NinjaTrader 7 platform, and it is free for end-of-day data for stocks, futures, and Forex. Streaming real-time quote service starts as low as $50 a month, and you can even have your CME exchange fees waived with a qualified brokerage account. At this time, I'd like to place a poll within the room, and this is: do you currently use NinjaTrader? So please press the green 1 if you're a free license user, press the red 2 if you're a lifetime license user, and if you're leasing NinjaTrader, go ahead and click that orange 3. If you're not yet using NinjaTrader, go ahead and click that blue 4 in the room. And while you fill it out, I would like to mention that NinjaTrader has created new premium paid educational events where you will join a NinjaScript expert for a pair of 6 to 8 hour long intensive courses designed to provide you with an in-depth training on how to create, test, and deploy fully automated strategies. If you ever wanted to learn C# NinjaScript programming, then take a look at the Introduction to NinjaScript Programming, which you can find at the following link. You can also create and backtest fully automated strategies with no programming in NinjaTrader. This is taught in our NinjaTrader or excuse me, our strategy creation for non-programmers course. And you can find that syllabus at the following link. All right, we'll take a quick moment to review those poll results in the room. And coming in the lead, we have our free license users in the room. Thank you for joining us here today. I'm glad to see people are aware that NinjaTrader is free to use. And then we're pretty much split for the rest of everyone. We have a lifetime user in the room. Thank you for joining us. And we have those of you leasing NinjaTrader. Thank you to both of you for joining us as well. Like to see you guys join us here with those live license keys. And then we have one person in the room who's not yet using NinjaTrader. So if you're not yet using NinjaTrader, I'd like to invite you to download NinjaTrader from the following link so you can follow along with today's webinar. Now, everything I do here today is actually going to be done with the free version of NinjaTrader. So everything I do here today, you'll be able to do as well. I would like to remind everyone that today's webinar is an interactive webinar, so I invite all of you to ask questions as we work through today's topics. I do ask that you keep the topics to the question, or the questions to the topic we're currently discussing. This will ensure we're able to maintain the flow of the webinar. Now, if any time during the webinar a question is asked that is beyond the scope of today's session, I may refer you to send a note to support@ninjatrader.com. Currently, we have a full staff of NinjaTrader representatives to promptly answer any questions you may have. During our normal operating hours, which are 8:30 a.m. until 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Monday through Friday, should receive a response within 15 minutes if sending us in a support request within those support hours. However, even after our normal office hours and on the weekends and during holidays, we do have limited support available, and you can always, so essentially, if you're ever in need of assistance, don't hesitate to contact us, and you'll be sure to get a response before the beginning of the next day. All right, before we get started, I'm going to post some helpful links into the room, starting with our YouTube training videos link. Now, this will take you to the YouTube channel for NinjaTrader LLC, and you'll be able to view our training webinars recorded there, our partner introduction webinars, and also tips and tricks conducted by our support team here in Denver, as well as our partners across the world. So it's a great link to keep bookmarked if you haven't already. Next link is our online help guide, and I'll be using that throughout today's webinar, but you can also find it at the following link. Next link is our video library, which is different from the YouTube training videos link. The video library is actually located in the help guide, and it goes into specific sections within the help guide where you would see a video listed, such as how do I submit an order on the NinjaTrader SuperDOM, which we'll go over here today, but you'll find those videos in there as well. Next link is our support forum, which is a great resource for information on NinjaTrader, indicator strategies, and of course NinjaScript. So if you're new to NinjaScript and you'd like to join those premium events or not, and you're also joining us here, just go to that support forum. We have a great team there. All of our support members are on the support forum, as well as active users there, all helping each other out with any questions you may have. It's a great resource for NinjaScript. We also have reference samples and tips and tricks available there as well for NinjaScript. Now, this last link serves as a reminder, there are some things you need to be aware of before you begin trading live with NinjaTrader, and that's the risks of electronic trading. If there are no questions concerning today's topics, I'd like to go ahead and get started with today's session. First thing we'll be doing here today is bringing up the NinjaTrader Control Center onto the screen. This is the first window you should see when you download NinjaTrader and open it up. Next, we'll go to File Connect, and we'll connect to the simulated data feed. Now, the simulated data feed is internally generated data, and it doesn't reflect the current market. It is essentially fake data, but we can use this to test out ATM strategies, test out our SuperDOMs, and we can test those out using the trend slider. When we're fully connected, in the bottom left-hand corner of the control center, you'll notice that it says connected green when we're fully connected. You'll notice that you have a trend slider window that appears on the main monitor in the top left-hand corner. This is what the trend slider looks like right there. I'll put it in between the ES here and the last bid and ask, and if I move it all the way up, you'll notice that from 12.49 we'll go to 12.49 and a quarter, 12.49 and a half, and 12.49 and 3/4, and so on. All right, our next step here, we're going to go to File, New. We're going to open up both SuperDOMs here today. If you only have one of these SuperDOMs, don't worry. Everything I do here today with the static SuperDOM can be done with the dynamic SuperDOM. Right now, we're going to go ahead and go through the difference of the two. So let's go ahead and open up the dynamic SuperDOM. Go ahead and bring that one into about middle of our screen, and then go to File, New, and bring up the static SuperDOM. All right. So on the left-hand side, once again, this is the static SuperDOM here. On the right-hand side is our dynamic SuperDOM. So as I work through today, or as I work through this section, going through the price ladder display, see if you can figure out the difference between both the static and the dynamic SuperDOM. So we're just going to break down the price ladder display. We'll start from left to right on the top. First is your buy column. This is where you would submit orders to buy at market, buy limit, buy stop, and buy stop limit orders. You also notice that we have the current bidding depth listed here, and then 4 levels of depth after that. SuperDOM means depth of market, so super DOM, super depth of market there. On the opposite side, you can look at the dynamic SuperDOM for this one as well. You'll see the sell column, which essentially is where we submit sell limit, sell market, sell stop market, and sell stop limit orders. And you'll see that here we have the last traded asking size, and then we have 4 levels of depth after that. In the middle of both SuperDOMs, you'll see your price ladder display, and this is where you'll definitely see the difference in how these two react to each other. In the middle, you'll notice a yellow highlighted column. That is your last traded price, and in parentheses is the last traded size. 2 additional colors listed there are blue and green. Blue is the last traded bid size, green is the last traded asking size. Now at the bottom of our SuperDOMs, you may notice that I have additional buttons that you may not if yours is set up by default. Mine has an ask, bid, market, plus target, minus target, P&L, and then on the sell we have ask, bid, and market. Very quickly, I'll be showing you these properties here in just a few moments, but I'm going to go ahead and set these quick buttons to false, and I'll show you how to access them without having that properties menu enabled there for the quick buttons. So by default, you should just have a market button at the bottom, a P&L, and a market on the other side. These market buttons can be used to enter the market on either side, either buy or sell. If you hold shift, it changes to ask. If you hold control, it changes to bid. Now going back to the differences between these two price ladder displays, you'll most likely notice that the dynamic SuperDOM, the last traded price pretty much stays in the middle. And again, that's this SuperDOM here on the right. The last traded price stays in the middle while the price ladder itself is dynamically updating. So at the top of your price ladder, you should notice that's jumping from 1240, 1254 to 1253. Ticks within those points there. On the left-hand side, you'll notice that the price on this static SuperDOM stays static. So at the very top, we're at 1254 3/4. At the bottom, 1249 1/4. And that's just how these two SuperDOMs work. Now, you'll notice if you went to submit an order on either the sell or the buy, it may be a little hard to reach exactly the level you want on the dynamic SuperDOM. But don't worry, you have a hold button here. So what I'm going to do here is use the left click of my mouse to actually submit a limit order here on the sell side at 1254. So first I'll hit hold and then left click on the 1254. It'll ask me if I would like to submit sell limit 1 contract at 1254. I'll click yes. And then I'll unhold that. And we can see here that it's up here at 1254 as well as on our static SuperDOM. Now if I wanted to cancel this order, it may be a little hard to hit that X. I have to keep following it around. So what I'll do is just press the space bar to hold it again and just click that X right there. A few other keynote differences between the static and the dynamic SuperDOM. The static SuperDOM is only used to trade futures. So if you want to trade equities or currencies, you'll have to use the dynamic SuperDOM. And in contrast to that, if you have the static SuperDOM enabled, you cannot trade futures on your dynamic SuperDOM. However, if you don't have the static SuperDOM enabled, you'll notice your dynamic SuperDOM can trade both or all futures, equities, and the currencies that are available in NinjaTrader and through your data feed provider and brokerage technology. Now, everything I do here today, I'll be doing with the static SuperDOM. But as I mentioned before, everything I do here today can be done in both SuperDOMs. So we'll go ahead and close our dynamic SuperDOM and just bring this static SuperDOM a little bit more in the center of the screen there. All right, so let's say I had a question on the SuperDOM. I can always send a note into support@ninjatrader.com or go into the NinjaTrader Control Center, access the Help menu, and then left-click on Mail to Support. I can submit my support request there. I can always just submit by just going to my email client and going to support@ninjatrader.com and sending in my request that way as well. If I had a question on the SuperDOM, I could do that, and I should say, I can press the F1 key on my keyboard. Now, the F1 key at any spot in NinjaTrader will open up the help guide. What it'll also do is bring you to that section in the help guide. So if you had a chart open, it'll bring you to the charting section of the help guide. In this case, we have a SuperDOM open, so it brings us to the SuperDOM section of the help guide. Now, a lot of the items I'm going to cover here today are actually already covered in the help guide. The display items are listed here, miscellaneous such as properties and window linking, and then we'll go through order management in a little bit, but all that information can be found here. As we go through these items, you'll notice that there are videos here that can guide us through the process as well. All right, so continuing on here, there are additional items below the price ladder display that we should cover before we continue on. First, I'd like to show you what those bid, ask, and market buttons can do. So if I was to left click on this buy market button right here on the buy column at the very bottom next to the P&L, if I left click on that once, I should get a confirmation window unless I've disabled it, and it'll ask me if I want to buy market one contract on the ES. I'm going to go ahead and click yes, and you'll notice a few changes to my SuperDOM. First thing is on the price ladder display, at the price I entered, my average entry price at $12.51 that column is now, or that field is now gray. So that indicates that's my average entry price. Directly below that in the P&L column, I now have profit and loss being displayed in points. So I'm currently I'm now a point under my average entry price. Now if I left click again, you should notice that it now displays this information in currency. Left click again and you can actually see percentage displayed here as well. Below the P&L, you should notice that the position report is shown, or reporting, where it shows you green for long and a numeral for your position size, so I'm long one. If I was short one, it'd be red and have a 1 displayed. If I wanted to close my position, there's two ways to do this, of course. I can just left click close. Now, left click close not only closes my position, but let's say I have a limit order here at $12.55. Remember again, that's a left click with your mouse. It's way at the top there. If I left click on close, it closes my position and cancels my order. So you may wish to, instead of canceling your order and closing your position, you may just wish to close your position. To do that, we'll just need to scale out the exact amount we're in. So if we're 1 long, I just come to market here. I'm already set to order quantity 1 and just left click sell market 1. And you'll notice it now says flat. And my limit order is no longer isn't canceled, essentially. Now, what the SuperDOM looks like when you're short, let's go ahead and show that. We'll sell market 1 contract, and it'll just show you that you're red 1 here. If I wanted to reverse this position so that it showed that I was then long 1, I could just come to the order quantity and set my quantity to 2 and buy at market. So 1 to close my position and another 1 to enter my position in the opposite direction. So there I close my position and now I'm long 1. I can also just use the REV button here to reverse my position, and it does exactly the same thing. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to do it when I'm long 1, so I'm going to reverse my position. Now you'll see that I'm short 1. Let's go ahead and close that position, and I'm going to change my order quantity to 10 and go short. So now that I'm short 10, I'm going to reverse again, and you'll see that I'm long 10. Now you may have noticed a small quantity appear next to the market button when you click that reverse. So look here, will be 10 long. On the market button here, you'll notice that right next to it, it'll show 20 right when I click reverse. You may not be able to see that here on the projection, but it does show up there if you're following along there. I'll go ahead and just close this position out. Now, if you hold Control down, you can actually submit an order at the last traded bid size, or bid price, excuse me. Now, if I left-click on it and just click bid, now the moment I click on that bid price is the moment it takes the price. So when I click yes here, that's not going to be the last traded bid price unless the market hasn't moved much. But it has. As you can see here, I'm at 12.52 and 3/4. 12.52 and 3/4 is not the last traded bid price right now. But if I click yes, my limit order went all the way up there and then automatically filled because it was a limit order on the buy side of the market, which means it was above the market, so it automatically filled. So what I would want to do here, if let's say, to show you that again, if I was at 12.54 and I left click on the buy side above my price, it automatically fills that. So going back to that bid item, if you left click the bid and wait just a few seconds and then click yes, it's most likely not going to be the last traded bid price. Now you may notice that confirmation window is most likely what's inhibiting my ability to instantly submit that. So if you ever wanted to know how to disable that, go to your NinjaTrader Control Center, go to the Tools menu, access the Options, and the very first tab you should see is the General tab, and the very first option right here, not sounds, but on the right, is Confirm Order Placement. If you uncheck that and click OK, the next time I start submitting orders, they're automatic. And you can see there, that was the last traded bid size when I submitted that order, or bid price. All right, I'm going to re-enable Confirm Order Placement just for this webinar here today. Also, if you hold Shift, you can submit at the asks price. So there's our last traded asks price right there. Two additional buttons here next to reverse and close. There is a center button. You'll notice that the static SuperDOM, that the price will climb up and down. You may wish to center it with that center button. Also, if you right-click in your SuperDOM, you'll also notice an Auto Center button. If you uncheck that Auto Center, you can then scroll up to really high or low prices if you wish. And you may wish to get back to the last traded price quickly, so you can just left-click that center button. You can also, if you're at that price and you want to Auto Center, just enable Auto Center and bring you right back as well. Now, opposite on the SuperDOM of the center is your Expand and Collapse button. If you left-click it, it collapses the ATM Strategy parameters at the bottom of the SuperDOM. Below that is your instrument drop-down menu. Mine is a new installation of NinjaTrader, so these are the default features that you should see there. To the right of that is our order quantity. We'll be using that a lot here today in the webinar. Below the instrument drop-down menu, you'll notice that we have an account drop-down menu. Can anybody tell me why my account is grayed out? Meaning I can't select any account but the Sim 101 account. I'll go ahead and wait for an answer in the room. While we do that, the time in force is listed to the right of the account. And there are two options listed for our time in force. Now these are for our orders. So we have day and GTC. So day would be the end of the session. And that's the session for the market we're trading, not our actual end of day for our time zone. Depends on the broker you're using as well, so make sure you check with them. And GTC means good till cancel. Now, if you are going to submit a GTC order, it'd be a good idea to check with your broker to make sure they support that time in force, being GTC. You may get a rejection message if you try GTC with an order and your broker doesn't support it. All right, no answer in the room for why my account is grayed out, but if you've just downloaded NinjaTrader or you're a free license user, you most likely notice that it's always grayed out and there's no way to use it. That makes sense since we're a free license users and we're using the simulation version of NinjaTrader, so we're always in Sim 101, meaning I can't select a live account. Now, if I just upgraded to NinjaTrader, I may have just went to Help, License Key, entered in my new live license key, and clicked OK. And had a prompt that asked me if I wanted to always start in simulation mode. I just clicked yes. Now, every time I start NinjaTrader, you'll notice when I go to File menu that Global Simulation Mode is always enabled. And for me, it's always enabled because I'm using the free license version. But if you have a live license key and you're wondering why it's always enabled, why you're always set to Sim 101 and it's grayed out, it means the Global Simulation Mode is enabled, essentially. If you'd like to disable that on startup, you can go to Tools, Options. If you go to the Simulator tab of the options, you'll see Always Start in Simulation. If you uncheck that and click OK, it'll make sure that you don't always start in simulation. But if you want to, make sure you have that enabled. All right, below those account and time in force, you have your ATM Strategy drop-down menu. By default, you should only have two options, custom and none. Custom, when selected, allows you to edit the ATM Strategy parameters at the bottom here. We'll be doing that a little bit later, and don't forget at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we have our ATM Strategy Level 1 webinar as well. All right, continuing on here, there's some additional buttons or options available when you right-click. You've already seen some of these, including the properties and the auto center. The one at the top is called Advanced Options. If you enable this, you should notice at the bottom of your SuperDOM, the ATM Strategy parameters now have additional items, such as Shadow Strategy, Reverse It Stop, Reverse It Target. You have options such as your Chase Limit, your Chase, Chase If Touched, and Target Chase. All these options are shown in the ATM Strategy Level 2 webinar. I can give you a brief description of each one. The Shadow Strategy allows you to test out another strategy in simulation while you're trading live. Since I'm using the simulation license key, I can't use that since it would just essentially submit two ATM strategies. I'm already on the Sim 101 account. Reverse It Stop allows you to set a reverse order on your stop target or your stop loss, and Reverse It Target does the opposite on your profit target. Target Chase says how far or if you would like to set your profit target to chase the market. Chase Limit is how many ticks the chase goes into effect, and Chase is enabled here, which is Auto Chase, and Chase If Touched is enabled, and that means that the price has to actually touch your order before it moves or chases after it. All right, continuing on, right-click, and you should notice Always on Top. Always on Top is in a lot of windows in NinjaTrader. You'll notice it on your charts, your data box, or your data box. And when you do this, you'll notice any other windows will be directly behind it, no matter if you left-click on them or not. And that just means that the SuperDOM is now in the foreground. Now I can, if I disable Auto or Always on Top, I can select this Control Center to be on top. If I right-click again, we have our Auto Center. We went over that. There's Close at Time. Close at Time is seen when you go to the Control Center, go to Tools, Options, and MISC. There is a Flatten Positions, Time to Flatten option. If you right-click in your SuperDOM again, you'll notice OCO Orders. That's one cancels other orders. So you can set orders in NinjaTrader. Specifically, if I wanted to set, let's say, a breakout fade entry, I wanted one order to enter me if the market goes up, and one to enter me if we go short. If one of them is filled, the other one's canceled. I can set that up using OCO Orders. A quick note, when using OCO, make sure you enable it when you're submitting your orders, and then disable it. The reason that we disable it after we submit our orders is so that the OCO doesn't share the same ID with those orders with other orders you're submitting on other instruments or on the same instrument for another strategy or another position you're trying to manage. Below that is your simulated orders, and we won't get into that just yet. I'll show you that when we get into stop limits. Cancel all orders, cancels all your orders, and flatten everything, flattens your positions. Manage ATM strategy templates. This is only enabled when we have an ATM strategy set up. And we can save our templates. I'll show you that a little bit later as well. And then our properties menu. Let's go ahead and access our properties menu here. A few properties you can set in NinjaTrader. Specifically, it's mostly going to be colors and different options visually, since it is a visual way to interpret the market. For our buy column color here, we'll change this to green. And there are several different settings in the properties that you can change the color for. When you change any of these options, you can just click Apply to see that change on the SuperDOM. Below the colors, you have advanced options once again. ATM Strategy Selection Mode. That'll be covered in the ATM Strategy Level 1 and Level 2 material. Essentially, this dictates how your ATM strategies are selected and viewed once you're in a position. Auto Center Price. Does it automatically center on the price? True or not? Caption bar display. Would you like it to display a count, account ATM Strategy, or just ATM Strategy, and that's at the very top of your SuperDOM there. You have several fonts you can choose from here for your SuperDOM. You can even change bold and underlined, italic, and sizes. You can change your last trade displayed in the price column. Middle mouse button is stop market. We'll get into that when we have order submission. Number of price rows, we can set this to a large amount if we want, or a small amount. It's up to us. 23 is the default. Parameter type is specific to your ATM strategies. If I change that to price, notice here the ATM strategy parameters changes to price as well. You have ticks, price, and percent there. P&L display unit, that's just the default setting for that. You can of course left click on it to change it. Relocate your center button. If you select true and then click apply, you'll see your center button at the top where price was once displayed. You can change show cumulative depth to true, and that'll show what looks like an additional level of depth, but it's actually just the total of these 5 levels on both sides. You can show daily high and low markers. You can disable the market depth if you wanted to, and it would just show the current or the last traded sizes. You can enable those quick buttons like I had at the beginning of the webinar, and you can see here that ask, bid, and market can be accessed without holding a control or shift. You also notice a plus and minus target. These allow you to add or remove targets from your ATM strategy. Show realized P&L when flat. Set that to true. And there are several other ones, such as single click order modification for your ATM strategy, stop limit offset. If it's set to off, you have to manually enter it, but you can also set your own. I'll show you that later. And use stop market for stop loss orders. By default, they are stop limit orders with a 20 tick offset, and I'll explain that a little bit later as well. You can set these settings as the default if you wish by left clicking set default and then click OK. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into our order submission. Now, if you have any questions on order submission, we can press the F1 key on our keyboard and then go to submitting orders. You'll notice several videos here, and then we'll go into each specific order we can submit there, and we even have a test at the end. If you'd like to access that from your web browser, you can do so at the following link for order submission. All right, does anyone in the room remember how to submit a limit order on the NinjaTrader SuperDOM? All right, I don't see any answers coming into the room for that question there. Essentially, it's just going to be the left click with your mouse. So if at 1250 I'd like to submit a sell limit, I'll left click there. Remember, on the sell side, it has to be above the market for the limit order, and on the buy side, it must be below the market for your limit order. So I'm going to submit one here, buy limit at 1243 even. Just like that. Now you can adjust the price of your order after it's been submitted by left clicking on the name of the order, in this case LMT, and then moving it into its new level and left clicking again. This is a click and click method, not click and drag, just click and then click at the new price. You can adjust your order quantity by left clicking on the quantity there, adjust it to its new level, and click the check mark. Now you'll notice one item here, and that is that this limit order says 7S on it. If I change my order quantity to 7 and just submit right next to it here at 1249 and 50, you'll notice that this limit order doesn't have an S on it, but it still shows 7. Now what this indicates is that there's multiple orders at that price level. So if you remember, I had an original order of 1, and I was just moving that one around. I then changed the quantity of that to 7, so I added additional 6 lots to that. So it's now saying 7S, which means there's 2 orders there. Now what NinjaTrader does is it uses first in, first out, so FIFO. And with that, we try and optimize it. So instead of pushing all 7 orders to the back of the line, well, you already have an order that's been waiting in the line, and it doesn't have to jump into the back because its friends are in the back of the line, and its friends don't get to cut in line. But what happens is you essentially have one at its original place in the order or in the line, and then the additional 6 are then added to the back of the line, and then they're in their place in line. So first in, first out optimization is what that is. And when you see that S listed next to the order, you understand that there's multiple orders or multiple Yeah, there's multiple orders at that specific level. If you also notice, if I stack this here, it still has the S as well, because now we have 3 orders at that level. To cancel the order, you can just left-click the X, excuse me, and that's next to the order. But you'll also notice if you have multiple orders and you'd like to cancel them at the same time, you'll notice a small X listed next to the close button down here. That's for the sell side of the market. Now on the buy side of the market, if you scroll down here, you'll see that you can submit multiple limit orders here, and you'll notice the X here as well. And that'll cancel multiple orders. And let's say you had an open position and you wanted to cancel multiple orders, but you didn't want to close your position, you could just left click those X's there. All right, so the next item I want to show you is going to be with your middle mouse button on your mouse. So if you're using a laptop and you don't have an external mouse, you'll have to actually use one to submit a stop market and a stop limit order in this NinjaTrader SuperDOM. If you don't have one, you can use the chart trader or even the orders tab of the NinjaTrader Control Center. Now, by default, the middle mouse click, let's go down here on the sell market, or on the sell side of the market, and we're going to go below the market for our stop orders. At 12:43, I'm just going to middle mouse click. Now, by default, you should get this window here, which is this stop limits tick offset window, but we want to stop market. So by default, I actually have to have control down on my keyboard. You'll notice control is held down when the market buttons turn to bid. That's a great indication that you're holding control down. Then middle mouse click at the level you want. And now it'll ask me sell stop one contract at 12:44. I can click yes. And that's the default setting. The reason I keep saying that's the default setting is if you right click and go to the properties menu, scroll down and go to middle mouse button is stop market. It's by default set to false. You can set it to true and then click OK. You can then submit stop market orders just by middle mouse clicking. And if you have confirmation like I do, you have to click yes. But if you don't, it makes it a lot quicker there. And you can submit multiple stop orders there. Now, they're all adjusted in the same manner. On the buy side of the market, they must be above the market. And on the sell side, they must be below the market. I'm just going to stack these all together, and you'll notice it has the S again. And you know what that means. That means there's multiple orders right there. And I'll just cancel them in the same way I did earlier. Now if I wanted to submit a stop limit order, I'd have to hold control and middle mouse click. But again, by default, that's not the setting. By default, the setting is just middle mouse click. A middle mouse click gives us the stop limit order. So again, I have to come into properties and set it back to its default, which is false, for the middle mouse button is stop market. Then I can just middle mouse click and I get this stop tick offset window. Now the stop tick offset window looks a lot like the order quantity window when you already have an order placed and you go to adjust its quantity. The tick offset is not the order quantity, obviously. When you're submitting a stop limit order, you have 2 orders. You have a stop market order and a limit order. Now when the stop market order is hit, we now have a limit order that tries to fill us at a better price. So what this window says is where is the limit order going to be at? If I middle mouse click at 12:45, that's my stop market order, but where is the limit order? If I say 4 here, this indicates that the limit order will be 4 ticks away from the stop market order. Now to see what that would look like, let's go ahead and click the check mark. If you have order confirmation on, this is actually going to help you understand the stop limit a little bit better. So we submitted our stop limit at 12:45. We also have an X listed here, and it says 12:44. So now we know that our limit order would be at 12:44. So if you use 4 ticks, that's a whole point on the ES. It's actually a point away, and if it's on the sell side of the market, it's a stop limit order below the market on the sell side again, and you submit that stop limit order, it's going to put it below it. So the limit order is below the stop order, and that's going to be at 12:44 even, since I submitted at 12:45. Now this order is adjusted in the same way the other orders are. There's no change to that method. we go on the buy side of the market and middle mouse click, let's use 4 again and click the check mark at 1251. Now, if you notice that, instead of going down, this time it goes up. So at 1251, buy 1252. So it actually goes up on the buy side of the market rather than down on the sell side of the market. A few quick tips to make this a little bit quicker on you. We talked about this earlier, just using that middle mouse click to make things quicker. Now, even if you just use the middle mouse click for your stop limit, you still have to enter in a stop limit offset. So let's go to the properties menu again. Scroll down, and you remember that stop limit offset, it's set to off. Type in whatever you'd like there, whatever the tick offset you'd like. So for me, 4. Now, and if I disable that confirm order confirmation, by going to Tools, Options, and Disable Order Confirmation, I can then just middle mouse click and get instantly a stop limit order. Quite a lot of orders there. Just easily middle mouse click, middle mouse click, middle mouse click, middle mouse click, and I can have those orders instantly. I don't need to wait around for confirmation of my tick offset, of my order confirmation or anything like that. Now I am going to re-enable those options I just showed you because I want to show you another item, and this goes into the simulated orders that I told you to talk about. So we're going to set our stop limit offset to off. Click OK. We're going to bring back up the control center. Go to Tools, Options, and re-enable Confirm Order Placement. Now, when I middle mouse click, it's going to ask me for that tick offset again. So at 1248 even, I'm going to middle mouse click. If I use 4 right now, if you remember, and my stop is at 1248, my limit would be at 1247. So 4 ticks away, so a whole point. What would happen if I used a negative offset, -4? Instead of going down on the sell side of the market, it would go up this time. So from 1248, it would go to 1249. Click the check mark to see that in effect, and it says, sell stop limit 1 contract on the ES at 1248 by 1249. So this time it goes up. Let's go ahead and click that check or that yes. You should notice the order quantity looks a little bit different. So let's show you in comparison to what the normal order quantity looks like. It's a bluish gray here, a teal, and then you have this yellow one. The yellow one is a simulated order. Remember that when you right-click and go to simulated order? Now, if you had questions on simulated order and how to submit them or exactly what they are, press the F1 key on your keyboard. It should bring up the SuperDOM section. Go to Submitting Orders. Scroll down here to the Stop Limit Order. If you scroll down to the negative stop limit offset, it'll mention that it is in fact a simulated order. Now you can also just enable it by using Control A or just right-clicking the SuperDOM and enabling that. Now if you would like to know exactly what a simulated stop is, go to the simulated stop orders under the order entry section of the help guide. And there's definitely information listed here on the benefits, understanding the risks of using these, understanding the volume trigger, stop examples, and understanding when to avoid using these. All right, we're almost out of time. I'd like to show you how to set up an ATM strategy. And remember, the ATM strategy level 1 material is covered here in this room at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time today. So right after this webinar in about 30 minutes. So I'm going to go to ATM strategy and select custom. When I select custom, the parameters are then enabled. You can set up 3 different targets if you'd like. For this example, I'm only going to set up 1. I'm going to set my stop loss to 8 ticks. That'll be 2 points on the ES. Now you can leave your profit target at 0 if you wish. However, for this example, I'm going to set mine to 8. Once I've set up an ATM strategy I want to use, I can then just enter the market. A few changes occur when we do this. First, on your ATM strategy drop-down menu, you now have an active ATM strategy, 1. and it should say custom or whatever you've named it. And I'll get into that in a second. You'll notice that we're long or whatever position we went for on either side of the market, and then so you should notice a green across both the buy center or the buy price and sell columns. That's our limit order for our profit target. Below that is our red for our stop loss across both the buy price and sell columns. This is a stop limit order with 20 tick offset. Now these orders are limit orders in a stop limit order, but they aren't adjusted in the same manner. If you try to adjust this order, it's a sell limit, but if you try to adjust it on the sell column, you'll actually submit a limit order. What you want to do is left click in the price column at the price it's at, and then left click at the new price. Same with the stop loss. Now these two orders are OCO, meaning one cancels the other. So if this stop loss is filled here at 12.52 and a quarter, our profit target at 12.55 and a quarter and a half will be filled. I'm going to adjust it and then move the market up with our trend slider used when connecting to the simulated data feed. Adjust the market up, and it's going to fill me at 12.53 and cancel my stop order. Now, the fact that it's using a 20 tick offset, you can change that. Right-click, go to Properties. Instead of using a stop limit order, you can come down here and say Use stop market orders for stop loss orders. So instead of using a stop limit for your stop loss, you'll use a stop market. Now, when I set this up, I set it as custom and I set up my ATM strategy. If I go back to none and then back to custom, I lost my ATM strategy. So what you can do here is once you've set up an ATM strategy that you want to keep, you can right click in the SuperDOM and go to Manage ATM Strategy Templates, give it a name, and then click Save. You'll then notice that you have an additional option from the drop-down menu of Custom None, and there's your new ATM strategy. All right, well, that is all the time we have here today. NinjaTrader has a vast ecosystem of add-on partners and trading educators. Easy Color Trading will be presenting a free webinar in this room on Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, covering your answer to trading success. If you're interested in attending this event, you can learn more at the following link. John has a question in the room I'd like to answer. He says, can you resize the dome? Now, you can't adjust the dome, and you'll notice that you can't adjust it, whether it's to make it shrink, skinnier, or taller, or whatever you'd like to do there. But what you can do is right-click and go to Properties, and go to the number of price rows here. And if you'd like it smaller, you can set it to a smaller value. Let's say we set this one to 15 and click OK. You can even set it to a larger value if you'd like. But you can only do that with the price rows. You can't adjust the actual size of the SuperDOM. Now, NinjaTrader is a growing business, and word-of-mouth advertising is extremely helpful in allowing us to keep our subscription fees low. So if you see value in the products and services we offer, we appreciate any mentions of our company in any discussion boards or trading rooms you use, as well as with any friends, family, or colleagues who may be trading at this time. For those of you that need to get going, I'd like to thank you all for your time here today. We realize the trader's time is their most valuable asset, and we do appreciate you choosing to spend your time here today with NinjaTrader. If you'd like to visit our product education for our upcoming events, you can do so at the following link. Don't forget our ATM Strategy Level 1 webinar is covered here at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I want to thank everybody for joining me here today. Wish you a great rest of your day, and good luck trading from all of us here at NinjaTrader.